I was born during a blizzard on a farm in Nebraska. My family always went to church, and my life went along fine. And then when I was 7, my mother was killed in a car crash. So consequently, my life changed a lot. Aunts and uncles really stepped in. I lived like 5 different places before I got out of high school. Daddy did remarry after a couple of years. It turned into a pretty dysfunctional family. I met Jerry when I was 7. We went to one-room country schools, and we both always remembered one another. One summer afternoon when I was 16, I was walking home from my number please telephone operator job and a horn hunt. And there was Jer in his cool cream and green Chevy with a little curl that always fell down on the front of his forehead. And he offered me a ride home. And then we started dating, and we were together ever after. These were the days of the Korean War. So he joined the Navy for 4 years. I went off to nurses training. I only saw him like 6 months out of that 4 years. He came home, we got married. We had two of the boys while we were in college. We moved a lot of times. I think the moves were the biggest challenges because I would always tell them to come home from school and tell me why their day was not good and what they missed about their friends from where we were. Because I said, Daddy feels so bad, he's had to move us. And so we don't want Daddy to feel bad. You talk to Mom about it. And I think always, every 4 years, we had to go build a new home. But I tell them today, it makes them the kind of people they are. They can walk into a room of strangers and they can talk to them. They talk easily. People sometimes ask me, how did you get 5 boys that all go to church, that are good Christian men? If you have a father that is the example, boys want to grow up and be like their father if they admire him. I knew that my dearest goal was to someday have a home where it was warm and safe and happy. And years later, when our home was filled with our 5 little boys, my very, very favorite time of the day was when they were all tucked in their beds, and I'd be checking the doors to be sure all was secure for the night. And it always felt warm and safe and full of love in our home. Jerry Gosda had given me my dream, and I will be forever grateful. 5 years ago, Jerry died of lung cancer. He was a remarkable man. 2 years later, they discovered that I have lung cancer, the same lung. I'm 81. I've had the best life, rich and full and good. I couldn't ask for anything more. I don't have any regrets. I don't have anybody that I need to go talk to and straighten something out with. My 5 boys turned out to be the best. And my grandchildren, my daughter-in-law, everything is good in my life. I had a phone call about 3 weeks ago. It was a friend of mine from 9th grade. And she said, I've always wanted to tell you, you are the reason that I know Christ. You had a happiness about you that I wanted. And so I think I've been blessed in the fact that even though I'm not very verbal about it, this happiness, this joy of Christ just lives in my heart. It's lived in my heart, it's lived in my being. That's all I know. I'd like to say how much I respect Sugar Land Baptist and the fact that here I am, an 81-year-old woman coming to this church. Who would think anybody would even notice you? And yet, in all of my church life, this church found things in me that I didn't even know were there. Like they've asked me to be a mentor for moms, and it's just been an absolute wonderful experience. They saw things in me that I didn't even see in myself. And I think that's admirable. I very much appreciate that about this church, that you're never too old, you're never too young, you always fit somewhere. And I'm grateful for that. I think deep these days, because when it's your last days, you do think deep. And one of the things that I thought of was that now I have the honor and the privilege of being invited to God's house. And the thing I know most is that when I get there, it's going to be warm and safe and full of love. And that just means so much to me. Plus the fact that, as I always say, the two people I want to see most in the world are Jesus and Jerry. I'll have that privilege. And then, you know, I'll add one more to that. I can't remember my mother's face. So just think, I'll get to see her too and tell her how I spent my life. So I have a lot to look forward to. I'm excited.